we're pleased to welcome today the new WBA Intercontinental Super Welterweight Champion, Kieron Conway. Kieron, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. Thank you very much.
Good.
How is you and everyone?
Yeah, good to see you. No marks,
Good.
buddy. And don't you look like you've had 10 runs and didn't get it? No marks
No.
on your pistol. So take
Marks.
us back to last Friday night, mate. Tell us about it.
Um,
How do you think it went?
it went exactly to plan. Exactly to plan, except like I wanted to make a big statement with stopping it early.
Yeah,
But I aimed for about round 7 or 8, finishing it.
yeah.
Everything went to plan. I thought that he would come out quick. He came out quick because my size in there it plays a big factor in them longer rounds. So they come out quick, try in a bit of desperation to try and pick up some early points. So I expected that. That's what he did, and then I took over from about round 4 or 5, which was the plan.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I thought it was comfortable in most rounds. Maybe 1 or 2 you might have dropped, and apart from that was good.
Yeah.
What did you weigh when you went in? Because you were enormous the week I see you going into it. What, a long way from 11 stone. So what did you go in the ring at?
In kilos, it was 78 and a half, 79.
Okay, so
That's
that's
what-
75 to 11, so good bit of weight back on, nearly a stone
Yeah.
back.
12 and a half stone it was.
Yeah.
Got a stone and a half on from weigh-in to fight.
Yeah, what was that, 24 hours? A bit more?
30 hours. 30 hours.
Okay. So, what was the preparation like going into last week's contest? Or fight, as you like to call it.
Well, the preparation was really good, to be fair. Like, because straight after Christmas, I got straight into camp because I was meant to be fighting in March.
Yeah.
That got pushed back to April, and then the lockdown came in. So at that point, I'd been training nice and for a good 3 or 4 months, and I had a couple of weeks break, come back, and then started the whole process again, back to phase 1. But I'd maintained fitness and stayed nice and strong and big. But then so I had a good long training camp, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I didn't get ill. I didn't get any sort of problems really. I had a little wrist niggle, but nothing too major. So everything went really good. So there would have been no excuses for not getting a win.
Someone who knows me as well as we know each other, training's what you love, so you'd have been well happy in camp.
Yeah.
You spoke earlier, you're already bored and missing training already, so
yeah.
that long camp would have been really good for you.
Yeah. I can't sit here and do nothing because that's my job. Because I don't have another job. I've got nothing to do. I'm just sitting here and having to listen to my girlfriend.
Yeah. So what about the sparring partners? Who did you have come in? Anyone special? Anyone to suit the Monsori?
Well, I had a bit of sparring with Troy Williamson.
Okay.
And also Jason Wellborn. They were my 2 probably bigger name sparring partners.
2 big lads, really, bigger than you in terms of weight divisions they box at. How did that go with Troy? How would that have gone with Troy? Troy's a top kid.
Oh, we had good spars.
Yeah.
We both enjoy them spars a lot. And we both get a good bit out of it as well. Make it difficult for each other in different ways. And yeah, I think we bring each other on. He's a good lad. He's a nice lad as well.
So what did you know about the lad you boxed, Mansouri, going into the contest? Did you know much about him?
Yeah, I feel like I knew quite a lot about him, to be fair. I did my research and I studied hard and over again. Also, you can't take much from it, but a few years ago I went over to Marbella when he was training over there and sparred with him a couple of times. Okay. But
did he run away then?
No, he didn't really do much. I think he was a little bit out of shape. He didn't do much at all.
Okay.
But no, I kind of knew what I was getting with him, just from like your own research and your own studying, and it's something you've got to do. I feel like it's something you've got to do as a fighter. And probably before this one, I didn't do it, and I think it was a big I was missing out quite a lot from not doing it. I think it helps a lot. You should always. I think it's really important to study.
What was your tactics going into the contest? And you said it all went well. What was the tactics really, apart from pick it up after the 4 round? What was your main tactics?
Like, yeah, similar to basically just what I said. Like, I knew he was going to come out fast. I thought I'll just let him make his rush. He's going to think he can keep this pace up, but he won't be able to. No matter what he thinks, he won't be able to keep it up because I'm too big. It's going to wear him out. It's going to tire him out. And so the first few rounds were always planning to be fairly slow, fairly letting him think that he's getting a foot in the door. And then I just take him by surprise and take over. But I knew my timing's good. I knew I'm stronger than what people think, and my speed's good. So I just knew I'd be able to take over whenever I fancied, to be honest.
Good. I mean, I've known you a long while, so I know losing the last round as an amateur was never a problem. It was always the first 2.
Yeah.
So, you know, part of King's Heath maybe was never lose the last round. And it was, you know, it's always going to be if you can get through the first 3 or 4 and doing well, they're in for a tough ride, eh?
Yeah, and I knew I was fit. I knew I was very fit. And I still had loads left in the tank. But yeah, the pace for me, from my punch output, weren't too great near the end because I couldn't get him. He did well on his feet, and I couldn't get to him. But I still had plenty in the tank at the end. I could have kept going and going and going.
Good. How did you think did he live up to what tactics you expected from him?
Yeah. He basically was exactly how I expected. I knew he'd come out quick. And as soon as we stood face to face, for the first time, I knew he'd come out quick and I knew he'd come down jab into the body as well. Because when people are looking for something to look like they're working, people seem to jab the body. It's a bit of a safe bet. It's like jab the body, get out, jab the body, get out. And so I knew that was coming a lot as well.
That's a little bit of frightened to engage type of effect, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, you see that quite a bit in an amateur game, don't you? Kids get a little bit timid and they start going for the body and tip and run.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you said the fight went for plan? How was your thinking? 7th, 8th round, you got him. You had him. Yeah.
I think he did really well to get through it. To be fair.
What went wrong? How come we didn't get the stoppage?
I have no idea. He made it difficult. From round 7, he made it very difficult for me to get him. Got on his feet. His head movement. He was very elusive from then on. I just couldn't get the finish there. In round 7, I'm surprised that. I was surprised the ref didn't jump in. I'm not moaning or anything. It is what it is.
A little bit. It looked like he was going to there, whatever round it was. It looked like he was going to jump in, and I think the bell actually saved him in the end. So.
Yeah. Because I would have just kept going and going and going because I do have a really good fitness. I've got a good engine.
Yeah.
So it would have just been one of them where I'll keep going until they pull me off, basically.
So what sort of what element were you really pleased with? What was you're looking back now? What was one point that you thought really went well?
I don't know. I'm probably one of my biggest critics, to be fair.
Well, what's Dad said you done well? And obviously, for those who don't know, Dad's your coach. So, what did he say you went well?
You know what? I haven't seen him. Straight after the fight, we got our stuff together and we went home. And he started trying to talk about the fight.
Yeah.
But he said no, right, for another day. I've not seen him. I ain't seen him since. So we haven't really got down to that yet.
Good job he didn't lose then, isn't it?
if I looked, it would be a different story. I'd be on the naughty step, getting this, that. But yeah, he's I don't know.
What areas do you think you need to address before your next fight? I think.
Yeah, of course. There's always things that you need to address. That was a far from perfect performance. I probably should not let them rack up a few points because it could easily go wrong. Especially as probably after 4 it was level. So it could easily
You
go.
were comfortable with that before you went in, though, weren't you?
Yeah, I was comfortable in the fight as well. I knew what was going on, and yeah, there's just yeah, I knew exactly what was going on. I was comfortable the whole way through. Like I said, everything was going to plan, so there was never a point where I thought that I need to rush to quickly get this back. But there's plenty of mistakes, plenty of them. Sometimes I was getting caught with a jab when I didn't need to. There was also times where he was throwing lots of them body jabs and flicking and trying and getting out, and they should have been timed all day long. He probably shouldn't have got as many off. To be fair, I could have worked the body a lot more, which is something that I'm actually good at myself. Don't know, I just couldn't get it off. No excuses, nothing.
It was elusive. It made you miss quite a bit there at that spell where he was going to finish him. He either got lucky or there was good stuff. So fair play to him.
Yeah.
So,
did well.
Sit there listening, and like I said, I know you quite well. Matthew Macklin reckons your backhand's not very good, son. What's your comment?
It can't be that good, or else I would have maybe have a few more stoppages on there. So, but to an extent, he is right. You know yourself, I've always had them hand problems, and the technique had to change for a while. Because of them. But I'm trying to get out of some of them bad habits with that right hand. It just takes time, don't it? Because I was so long doing it wrong. Just got to keep working at it to get rid of those habits now. And eventually it will be. The hands are okay. And hopefully we'll be able to use it to full potential soon.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. I can witness that the backhand does have power. May not have accuracy because it's missed the pad and hit me a few times, son. But you know what I mean? It certainly carries power.
I blame the pad, man.
Yeah. Running away from it. So, what was the setup like then? Everybody sees this matchroom; it's all totally different. So, tell us about your week in the bubble and the build up to your 17th fight, and also the prospect of going live on BT Sport. What was it like? Take us through that week. What happened? What was going on?
So when you arrive, it's strange because it's like they've took over half the hotel. So one side of the hotel where it's like, I think it's for public, and then this side it's all fully branded, matchroom, fight camp branded. You walk in through this little like tunnel, all of your stuff's taken in by security straight up to your room. You go in for testing, and then straight from the testing room you go straight to your room, and you stay there until the next day. As long as you pass, and then so the part of the hotel that they had all like for themselves, it was like, everything was still branded outside. Everything was like blocked off, so it was a nice area for all the boxers and teams and all what else. And they've got their own like press room, 2 gyms, 1 boxing gym, one cardio gym. I'm pretty sure Matchroom had built this because it was all like in just a certain way. It was just really, it was good. I think it's how boxing should be done all the time. I think it was really, really special. The fact that you've got your opponent in the same building, you're walking past each other a lot. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter really, does it? It's good. And if there's, even for the cameras, if there's two fighters that have maybe even got a bit of beef with each other, it's good for the views as well, because certain things happen and the cameras are always there. They're everywhere. Just walking around with cameras and stuff. So there's always some big views that could be made. It's really like, it was next level, to be fair.
Okay.
And then so every single day there was something to do there, whether it was media, weigh-in, press conference. Every day there was something to do. And like then everyone just chilled. Like, a couple of days I sat there sunbathing in the garden. Nice weather over there.
Yeah.
A few days everyone from Sky and Matchroom, they were playing a game of cricket or football out there. Got quite competitive, to be fair, especially when they had a few drinks late at night. Got competitive matches of cricket going on. But yeah, the fight night, that was weird because it was in that obviously massive mansion.
Yeah.
And you get onto this bus, they take you in, and you go through this little like hut, like stars in their eyes. You come out, it's like smoke screen, all like antibacterial, you and everything that comes with. And then you go up to the specially built changing rooms, and it's mad, massive place. And then all the lights and everything over the ring. It was next level. It was like I think it was what they used for the Joshua against Klitschko fight, the ring and the lights and all that. So it was really good at that.
So my concern from you is like, yeah, you ain't the best at warming up, but you are a slow starter, and we're out in the cold. The night's getting dark, and I'm sitting there thinking he's going to have icicles coming off his arms by the time he boxes, because it looked really cold and dark compared to what the week had been. How was that? Were you still? Do you manage to keep warm, or what was the atmosphere in the air like?
Well, it was a little bit rainy, to be fair.
Yeah.
So when I came out to do my ring walk initially, they sent me back indoors because the rain started chucking down. And then when I eventually came back out, it was still rainy and everything. But I had it's weird because I warm up well. Like I do take a good warm up, a proper warm up. But then when I get in the ring, I do like to take my time to in the first round or 2 rounds. But I was nice and warm. There was no problems with being outside. No problem. The thing without the crowds, when you start letting your hands go, you don't hear the roar from the crowd.
Yeah.
That was strange at one point because I thought, hang on a minute, that's quiet. And then all of a sudden, thunder and lightning started in the background. I was like, bloody hell, This is different. This is proper different. But it's good. It was a really good experience. I liked it.
Was it like going back to one of those early rounds of the championships where it's just you, the tournament, and a couple of people in the crowd, sort of like end of the night type that type
proper
of thing?
like that. Like that, but with a bit of rain and lightning.
So Dad obviously plays a big part, as obviously his dad, but obviously plays a big part in your boxing, and has done. We'll come to that a bit more in a moment. But what's it like having your dad in the corner?
Through training, we do have a few arguments.
There's no surprise.
This time, not as many as before.
Right.
But we've had a few kickoffs, and it gets a bit heated sometimes. But on the other side, it's good because I'm blood to him, so he's got everything. Everything for me is like in his best interest. Like there's no other motives.
Yeah.
Like, I'm his kid, and so it's good that we can work around each other. We can talk. We can communicate far better than, or far more emotional and deeper than most, not all, coached to boxer can. It works, but I do, it works.
So we'll probably come back, or someone will probably want to take you back there later with a few questions to the matchroom day. Let's go all the way back to the start then. About 12 years ago, and you had 10 years at Kings Heath Boxing Club. I'm led to believe you had somewhere around about 84 contests for Kings Heath.
Yeah.
I'm aware of, during those 10 years, you were one of the 12 boxers that boxed internationally. And between that 12 of you, you probably boxed over 50 times for England out of that club. So it's some special club. I spoke to your dad earlier today about it. He said in that 10 years, there's been 24 England national titles, and that don't include the NABCs, which there's plenty of them as well. 6 GB championships, 1 Youth Commonwealth Games medalist, 2 European silver medals, 1 boxer on the podium at GP, plus you, as Kings Heath, won Haringey Team of the Year at the Haringey Cup in something like 2018. So you were coached by Arthur and your dad. How would you describe them?
I think it was pretty much perfect team.
Yeah.
What I could imagine. Like, so I had my dad, who's obviously a dad figure, and I had Arthur, who ended up being like a granddad figure. He was.
I'm not sure he like that, but I understand where you're
I know. But you know where I'm coming from. Yeah, it worked really well because sometimes if me and my dad fell out, Arthur could really set us on the straight.
Yeah.
He knew what gets me fired up, and between them it really worked out well. But yeah, Arthur didn't want to come over to the pros. He likes the amateur stuff.
Yeah.
Probably as you know, and yeah. So, but there's no just because I don't train at King's Heath now doesn't mean that I don't think that they're a really good club or anything like that. I went up there the other day. I see Arthur a little bit.
Yeah.
So I still believe it's like one of the top clubs going.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of talk. I mean, I know Arthur, and he's very quiet in what he's done and how successful he's been. But I know for a fact in a conversation he's had over 60 national champions in his time, and and Mount. We just talked quickly of 12 boxers in the 10 years that you and your dad spoke while your dad was coaching at King's Heath. Box for the country. So Arthur's produced some fantastic kids, and from schools, junior youths, and national seniors over the years. So without a doubt, Arthur Daly is a top coach.
Yeah. Unfortunately, out of all those national champions and GB champions, I'm not one of them.
We'll just brush that under the table, eh?
Yeah. I can't believe I never won a national title. It really gutted me, that. But it is what it is.
So, obviously, I've seen a few of the King's Heath training sessions, and I've read a lot of books around different people. And John Wooden is a top American basketball coach, and I don't expect you to know him, but some people will. And he never wasted 1 minute of his training session, when he was coaching, and that's very much King's Heath, isn't it?
Yes.
There's never a minute that if you're resting, but then you're back on. Yep. So what stands out to you, or do you remember from a training session that's really helped you to get where you are from those King's Heath days?
It was all about perfection. Everything had to be right, and there was no other way. It was not nearly right. It was right or not right. You had to be proper on it all the time, and I think that's something that really made a difference, to be fair. There's no 99%, it's 100% or nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that was something that really stood out and makes a difference.
And just when you thought you were going home?
Yeah. Yeah. 10 minutes stomach.
And, we were talking on the gathering a little while back. I think it was Andy Lane, the psychologist, was talking about, making special areas for the boxers. But King's Heath does. You go in King's Heath, every boxer's got his own little corner, and everything about that boxer's up in that corner.
Yeah.
And, you look around and it's full of the champions that have been, and everyone's got, their corner, haven't they? From, Ruben to Chantal to Ben. Everybody's got their corner of what success they brought to the club. So that's that was mentioned, and I thought very much of King's Heath when I see that, you go in there and it rings out champions, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah, it's nice. It's nice to walk in there. It's powerful.
Yeah,
it's powerful walking in there, and you see that. Like you said, everyone's got their own set, areas, and like I said, it's powerful to walk in there, definitely.
So from those training sessions, what stands out of the bits you didn't like then? Being a hard trainer yourself.
Ben Vaughan's dad.
Ben Vaughan's dad.
Yeah.
So for anyone who don't know Ben Vaughan's dad, give them a little bit of a background of what Ben Vaughan's dad's like.
Well, he's an ex-paratrooper, and he's got bits of his leg blew off from things he'd done during that time, and he comes in, takes our circuits at the end of the session, and nearly brings every single one of us to tears. I remember that like it was yesterday. There was pain in them circuits. It really brought out a different mental side to you. You have to really dig in proper deep with Mark, and he's ruthless. I remember when there's stories about when he made Ben Vaughan go running from when he was a little kid, and he's like booting him at the arse because he's trying to stop. He's booting him at the arse around the local park in front of everyone. Oh my God. I can imagine it. You can imagine it as well, can't you, Ivan?
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went to in your amateurs, looking back on your amateur days, and I did make a little note here. We didn't quite win those national championships, but you ran it close on many occasions. So what was your best and hardest fight you had as an amateur?
My hardest fight, the first fight that comes to mind when you say that is probably against Danny Wright.
If I had a feeling you'd say that.
Yeah. But it was probably my best performance as well, probably, because I come out on top. And it was such a hard fight from first bell to last bell. I remember got out afterwards feeling sick. But that was ruthless fight, that.
Yeah. I remember, I think I left Sheffield, come from England or GB over to there, and I think it was at Manchester way, wasn't it? I remember coming through wherever it's Saddleworth Moor and up that way to get there, and can't remember exactly, but it was somewhere in the Manchester area. And it was half an empty hall, but it was one hell of a fight, and the best thing was it was actually a brutal fight, but the referee didn't get involved once, did he? It was such a clean fight, and everything. It was there's a thing going around at the moment about what's the best amateur fight you've seen, and for me that would probably be one of the better ones over the last few years. I can physically remember thinking that was class. You know what I mean? Then people who paid a few quid to get in really could have paid a lot more money for just like one belt.
Yeah. I don't remember. Maybe that was one of the times you turned up with odd shoes on.
No, we'll come to that in a minute. It wasn't that time though. I was fortunate enough to corner you when you boxed for England. So England and Wales. What do you remember that, and what was it like to get your England vest?
It was really nice to finally box for England, because obviously I didn't win the national titles leading up to it and stuff like that. So I always wanted that. Always really wanted that, and I was always missing out for a long time. And it was quite special to me when I finally got that. And it was a really good show, actually. It was one of those annual dinner shows.
Hereford way, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a really nice show, really good setup. So it made it a little bit nicer as well. But yeah, I don't really remember too much. I just remember really enjoying that night quite a lot, and enjoying walking around in the tracksuit, and it was close to my heart, to be fair.
So that was good. I just remember like smiling to you at the end of the second round. The kid had virtually given up. He took a couple of body shots, and it was really just a matter of, we didn't even think he was going to come out for the third round, and then he just ran away for the whole 3 rounds. I just remember that much about it.
Yeah.
What do you miss about amateur boxing then? What were some of the good things, and what do you miss?
The things I miss, it was really social, because it was like there was something every weekend.
Yeah.
There's a few lads like at King's Heath Gym that I don't see much anymore, because we've all like partied in different ways. That's probably one of the things that I miss the most, to be fair. But yeah, I don't know anything that I particularly didn't enjoy. I weren't a massive fan of the training back then. Now I am. Now I can't stop training.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I had a different mentality. Probably why I didn't get to win the national titles. But if the one thing that I would always try and help people with is you've got to have that mentality to win no matter what. You've got to work. Work is literally the only way. And back then I didn't have that mentality. There's no luck. There's no givens. You make your luck by working. And just didn't see it like that back then.
No, I think that final year. I think when you boxed right, and we were all but there. The semi-finals just didn't go to the plan really, but yeah, somewhere near. And yeah, I think from then on you started to grow those early days, but that sort of time is when you started to grow, and it was always going to be Kieron would be a professional, wasn't it? Really, you were always suited to that. Yeah. So before we go back to your professional career, I spent like nearly 4 seasons, something like that, at King's Heath, and there was always a lot of talk about how smart you always looked, and you was a real thing about fashion. So is fashion really important to you?
Not really, no. I basically just wear my training kit everywhere.
No. But I always used to, hey? Fashion was the thing, hey?
Yeah, now the only thing is winning and working and success. So I don't have time for fashion anymore.
Okay, so probably that's when you probably lost it when I left the gym, really, because I really do think that I brought fashion to you. You know what I mean? In the way.
I think you probably did.
You know, if you remember back in the times, you know, I started wearing odd trainers to go to the semi-finals and things like that, and it wasn't really that long before you started wearing odd socks. Do you remember? Like, you know, so you started to get the fashion hint of, you know, being a bit different. And then, you know, if you remember at shows, you used to love a gate crash of a conversation when I'm talking to Josh Kelly. You wanted to come in and talk about fashion. You thought he was some kind of fashion icon at the time.
Yeah, I remember that. And
I come
wearing odd shoes one of those times.
Hey?
You was wearing odd shoes that day as well, I think.
That was it. You couldn't wait to tell him, could you?
No, I couldn't wait. But the funny thing is, you've not only done it once. It's more than once that you've turned up with odd shoes on. And that's what makes it funnier.
I went all the way to the Olympics on my own in the limit, and I'm colourblind. I left really early in the morning, and I put one brown shoe and one black shoe on. I think you remember that one as well.
Oh.
Anyhow, so like 2 weeks ago, I thought the fashion thing, and I turn up, and then you're walking around the gym in an S&D paving T-shirt. You know what I mean? And I you know, there's nothing wrong with S&D. They're probably the best paving company in Northamptonshire, without a doubt. Because if this gets out, it needs to be put out there. So I'm not moaning about S&D. It was just like the shirt, and I thought, not much about his fashion. So just before I left, I said to you, do you know what? I don't know. I think those Matchroom T-shirts are really fashionable, Kieron. I reckon they look really good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what? Since then, I don't think you've stopped wearing them. So, you know, so when we do meet up, fashion certainly does sort of rub off onto you, doesn't it? You know.
Absolutely. I've even got it on now, to be fair.
Yeah, I see it. I thought, you know, there you are. Seriously, then, let's get back to the boxing then.
Yep.
What do you really like about the pro game over the amateur game then? Apart from the money, obviously. But when your dad gives you it.
When my dad gives me, when I give it to him. Do you know what? I don't know. It's just, I feel like it just suits. In this moment of my life, it just suits.
Yeah.
And I can't pinpoint why, but I just do really enjoy my life as a pro boxer.
Yeah.
It's obviously, everyone on this chat obviously knows that it's way harder than it comes across. Like that, it's obviously not just going to training and coming home and sitting on my ass. There's way more behind the scenes to it. And I like all that. I like the stress. I like the aches and pains. I like it all. So it just suits me really well. And that's why I enjoy it. And there's nothing against amateur boxing at all. It's just, this is what is made for me. Or this is what I'm made for.
I know you're probably not too happy every time, and you do get the odd mention, but you're probably in the most exciting weight group there is in the country at the moment.
Yeah.
And obviously, so where do you see yourself in that group at this present moment in time?
At the top of it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't expect no different answer on that.
No.
Okay, then. So let's go back to the Cheeseman then. Cheeseman's obviously one of the top there, and I know Ted well, obviously, and as you do. Let's go back to that draw. How did you see that?
I seen it close. I went back to at the end of the fight. I went back to my dad and my corner, and I said, "Anywhere else, and I might get this."
Yeah.
But
that was your call, wasn't it?
Yeah, your call. He's the champ. He's the matchroom fighter. I thought I've got to come. I had to come here and rip it from him. He's the British champion, and I thought I only just done enough. Now, I cannot complain. I watched it back loads of times. I do think that I won by 2 rounds, but I cannot complain. I will not ever shout robbery over that fight because, like I said, he's the British champ. I've got to go and take it, rip it from him. But like I said, I feel like I only just done enough. So, like I always say as well, we've got to have that rematch at some point to put that record straight for both of us, not just for me. I'm not being an ass or anything. I think that it's just right. We got a draw.
Close enough on it, so it deserves to go again.
Yeah.
When you lost your one belt, it was in, like, I forget what the tournament was called, but it used to be like a bit like the prize fight, I think. What was the tournament called?
Ultimate Boxer.
That's it. So it was like a bit like the prize fighter to me. People said to me, "You'd win," and I went, I don't know. You might have won if you'd have gone back to back and back to back straight on, no rest.
Yeah.
But you know, you're like, you warm into it, and every time you got warmed up, you stopped and then go again. So it was like going back to the amateurs to you. So it weren't really the best thing, but it's good experience and part of development. How did you see that?
Like the first fight, I came out really good, really fast, sharp, and I put on a good performance in the first fight. And but after that, that little gap in between, or it's a big gap, and you just sit down, and it's hard to keep yourself warm or hard to warm back up. I sat there and I couldn't get myself back up for it. I remember walking to the ring for the second fight thinking, I'm not even nervous. I don't feel like I'm going into a fight here. What's going on? I just could not get myself back up. And that's a massive learning thing, because I chased quick money there. Because I didn't have a promoter at the time and stuff like that, it seemed like really big money. And I chased it. I thought it was easy. I thought it was easy money as well. So I went and chased it. People were saying, like, my management and my team were like, "Oh, we don't think you should go in this. This isn't suited to you." And I was like, "Just let me go in it. It's a big opportunity. It's on TV. The money's good. Money's not what they make out to be either, by the way. It's not. It's not." So I went for it, but I shouldn't have. But it did well for my career, because maybe that's why I got the Ted Cheeseman fight. Maybe they seen a little chink in the armour there where I was put under pressure and I couldn't really go with it. There was that's not because he was better or anything like that. Like I said, I just couldn't get up for the second fight. So yeah, it did well for my career, and it really, really changed my mentality in boxing properly. It really brought out a different side of me, and I'm happy that I got that loss. That loss weren't a loss to me. It was a massive win. It was the biggest win of my career, and I always say that to everyone. And so yeah, it did well. It did well for my career. I was gutted at the time, obviously, but within about 2 hours, I messaged MTK, my management, that night or the next morning, and said, "There's a show down the road from me. Get me on it. I don't want paying. I want to get straight back out and fight and win." So I did that. Boxed at cruiserweight, and I don't even know what that is. I just literally walked in there at that weight, got a win. Next thing I know, I'm fighting Ted Cheeseman for the British title. Had a really good mentality as well.
And I know you're confident, and you're not an arrogant type of lad. And we've spoken a couple of times over the last year or so. And not that we speak regular, but when I have spoke to you, names like Fitzgerald, Eggington, and Fowler pop up, and you've never flinched. You never, even now, you're just looking at me straight-eyed. Fowler, then, if you had him in the next bout, what would you think?
I'll take, 100%. You have to be. You have to. I think at this stage of my career, there's no choice but to be confident in what's going on. And in this division, yeah, we're all mixed. We're all in the same place, but we're all mixed where we are in our careers, really. Like, Fowler's a bit older than me. He's had a few more years experience than me, a few more years toughening phases, a few more years getting fitter, getting stronger. But there is no doubt in my mind that I'm the top of that list of the domestic fighters. and I just have to do what I've got to do behind the scenes and in the ring to prove that. And yeah, I just do think I'm the top of that list because I'll work.
When Fowler fought Fitzgerald, what was your thoughts? What was going through your mind when you see those two boxing?
I think at the time I wasn't signed with Matchroom or anything, so I kind of thought they were a bit out of reach.
Yeah.
So I looked at it as a fan. So it was close fight, and it was a good fight. It was a good fight to watch. To be honest, I haven't actually watched that fight back, before, unlike some of the other opponents and potential opponents. I haven't watched that fight back. I think Fowler got a bit too emotionally involved in that fight. I think Fitzgerald played it well by getting him too emotionally involved. And he made mistakes and drawn himself in and probably gassed himself out too soon. But that's all part of the game, isn't it? Fitzgerald did it really well. Yeah. Fowler bit. And I think that's why the fight went the way it went.
Sam Eglinton, what do you think?
Perfect for me. I know there might be people on here that know Sam. But you got to say it how it is. I think his style, everybody knows that style is absolutely tailor-made for me. Yeah. That's, like you said, I'm not arrogant. That's not an arrogant comment. That style is perfect for me. If you hold your feet in front of me and keep your head still, it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, that's probably where I went wrong when I done pads with you, so.
Yes, exactly.
So who out of them, without being like thing, who would get out of Cheeseman, Fowler, Eglinton and Fitzgerald? Who would give you the hardest bout, do you think? Just not because of anything, just their styles and just the way they box and that. Not.
I think that the hardest fight is Cheeseman because it's just all pressure and he's tough and you'll have to knock him out to stop him coming. And it'll always be a hard fight with Cheeseman, but it's one that I'm jumping at because I need to. But yeah, I do truly think he's the hardest fight out of a lot of them.
Yeah. And which one would you? I think I guess which one you'd probably jump at because you just said it. Which one would be the easiest, or the one you'd really want out of all them?
Not at all because he's the easiest, but Cheeseman is the one that I want out of all of them because I think we've got unfinished business. Okay. And obviously he gets the same questions as all the time as well, like saying, when are you going to fight Kieron Conway again? Yeah. I get, when are you going to fight Ted Cheeseman again? I think we both just want and need to put it behind us now by getting the record straight. But yeah, we'll see. I think next I know they'll be offering Sam Eglinton or Cheeseman.
Yeah. Of which you'll be happy with either?
Yeah.
So you've actually answered that really of who you want. I got I'm going to try and put my glass on because I've got different. Got to look at the screen now. Quickly, I've got a couple of questions going to come your way now from people in the gathering that have been sitting here listening to you. Going to go straight to Sean. Sean, you're on, buddy. He says very quickly he's not. He's not on mute. There you're on, Sean. Away go.
Hi, Kieron. Congratulations on your win the other day. How would you say you adapted from your amateur career moving into your professional career? How long would you sort of say it took for you to feel comfortable?
I'd say that I really only fully adapted this year, or maybe since I lost in Ultimate Boxer. I think that really made a massive difference because I was just like, you didn't really get them hard fights at first, you know what I mean? And it took a while to adapt fully because you just felt like you didn't need to too much. You just felt like you could do the same thing but for a little bit longer, and it's all good. And it wasn't until I got the loss that I totally knuckled down, focused, changed, and made sure everything was right. So it took a long time, and I think it does take a long time. I think it's a slow process, which is why you need them learning fights at the beginning to try and practice those things.
And would you have said that the time was right in your amateur career? Obviously, it probably was, but did you feel that it was the right time to go, or did you feel you might have gone a little bit too early, or just bang on, really?
I think it was the right time for me because I was getting a bit fed up. I remember I went into the national championships and I went in there with the mentality to win, and I wanted to win the national title. And I think at that stage, I think I was about ready to go pro, whether I won the national title or lost. I ended up getting a loss in maybe the Midlands area final against the eventual winner. And I just thought it's time. I need to go. Yeah.
Many thanks for that, and best wishes for the future.
Thank you very much, mate.
Next one up is Justin. Justin, you're on.
Hi, Kieron. How are you, mate? You good?
Yeah, good, mate. Good, mate. How's things?
Yeah, good. Yeah. As an amateur coach, we obviously keep an eye on the kids, seniors, juniors. We keep an eye on their weight, and they pretty much maintain their weight all the way through, as you know, being an amateur yourself. What's the secret? As in, how do you gain so much weight in that time? Is it just water retention?
Yeah.
Or it's just basically so before you fight, you just drain yourself of fluids.
Yeah. Yeah. It don't sound healthy, but I do it in a very structured way, and I only hit my fight weight for a very short time. I'm not like at my fight weight for a few days,
Right. Okay.
weeks, or even hours. Maybe like 2 hours I hit my fight weight.
Yeah.
So I'll hit my weight in the morning, get on the scales, get off, and I'll immediately start my rehydration process.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most important things, rehydration. It's not so much about what I'm eating.
Right.
There is a factor of what you're eating, because you obviously need a big, nice amount of carbs, but very specific amount of carbs as well. You don't just down everything and scoff your face.
Yeah.
And even with the water, don't just down my water. It's very specific for each hour. And you do put back on a lot of weight.
Yeah, it's just so surprising. And I know with obviously with Canelo, they're saying he's built so, like before the fight. Obviously, when he fought Khan was looking at him thinking, well, he weren't that much. And I remember him saying that when he faced him across the ring, he couldn't believe the size and the amount he'd put on.
Yeah.
How have you found the transition, mate, from your amateur days, sort of almost keeping weight all year round, because you obviously boxed a lot. How have you found the transition in doing that now? Have you got it down to a perfect art, would you say?
Yeah. Back in the amateurs, I hated controlling my weight, having to keep my weight there or thereabouts all the time. I really did hate it. But saying that, I don't put much fat on at all in between fights. Maximum I get up to is about 12% body fat.
Yeah, that's great.
My height, I think I'm about 7, maybe 6% body fat. Sounds like a lot, but it's not. But it's done over a long process of.
Do you think that's the way you train? Because you said you like your training and that. Do you think you push yourself and it gets you sort of down to your 7% body weight?
Yeah, and it's a lot down to nutrition as well. Everything's really tailored, like down to small macros, micronutrients. Everything's really tailored and structured. It becomes quite boring and regimented, to be fair. Near the end, like the last few weeks gets pretty horrible.
To come fight night, do you feel really strong? You feel really healthy and ready to go at that point?
This fight I did. This fight I felt really good, because the whole lead up, I've done it a bit dodgy before, like not really to plan, because I've got a few illnesses like along the way, and it made things really difficult for me.
Right.
But this one was so perfect, and I felt so strong, and I felt big in there. It's the heaviest I've ever been when I got in the ring, but it's also only the second time I've actually made super welterweight, because I've only had 2 title fights, so you only hit the title fight weight when you've got a title fight. So yeah, it was good. It was good. I did it really well. Yeah.
Well, I've got to admit, that's probably one of the only fights I haven't seen since COVID. I've watched everyone. I watched the Harper fights, the girls' fights, and I haven't watched yours. I'm looking forward to watching that and catching up, mate. So I wish you all the best in your future career, buddy. And
Thank you very much, mate.
Go and take it, mate.
Yes, mate. Will do.
Next up's Chad.
Hi, Kieron.
Hey, all right, mate.
Sorry, mate. I'll let you take your sip of water.
Coffee. Always on my coffee.
Oh, sorry. I was just wondering, you said you love to train a lot. I was just wondering what you do in your downtime. Are there any sports or activities that you like to do to keep your mind fresh between fights or between training sessions? Or
I've recently started playing a bit of golf, and I find that really good for me. Because I'm also staying moving a little bit, but you can have a laugh or you can really chill out if you say go on your own. That's one of the things that I've liked to do in my downtime recently. Other than that, my life's pretty boring. A golf is pretty boring, to be fair, but other than that, it gets even more boring. I'll sit on the sofa and watch films or TV, stuff like that. There's not much else that I really get up to be fair. Always focus on my recovery, especially when I'm in camp. So, don't really get up to much exciting.
is there anything recovery strategies that you utilise that help you, or?
Not specifically. A lot of people go towards the cryo therapy at the minute. But I did try it before, and it didn't really work that well for me. So my main recovery is making sure that what I'm putting in my body is really, really good. So all my waters and the right foods and things like that, really, and making sure I sleep well. So a bit like my fellow super welterweight Anthony Fowler, I'm all over the CBD as well.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Could I just ask one more, Ivan? Is that all right? Just to keep. Yeah, I was just wondering. You seem quite a calm, chilled kind of fella. Do you deal with nerves before fights or anything like that, or is that?
I don't get too bad. I get a little bit nervous just as I'm on my way to the ring, or when they say, right, it's your turn now. You're coming out. That's when I get a little bit nervous. Other than that, I'm pretty, like you said, I'm quite chilled, to be fair, and I don't really know why, but maybe I'm confident in my preparation. Right. So I'm quite chilled. Yes, I don't really get stressed too much or nervous too much, because what will be, but I've worked hard, so I know that.
Brilliant. Cheers for that, Kieron. Thank you.
Nice
Thanks
one.
for answering those.
Adam, you're up.
How you doing, Kieron?
Not bad, mate. Not bad.
Hello, mate. Technically and tactically, what's your priorities at the moment to improve?
Like I said, I'm still trying to sort out that right hand, because over the years I've had a few injuries over my hands, especially that one. My technique was altered to get around the knuckle injuries, and I ended up slapping a little bit. So I'm definitely trying to sit down on that right hand a little bit more and drive the knuckles through. But it takes time, because I had so long doing it wrong. But it'll come, definitely.
And what about tactically?
Tactically, like I said as well, potentially starting around earlier a little bit more. Just depends on who's in front of you, and like the game plan with my team and stuff. We obviously have to go over it, varying on who is there in the other side of the ring. But so tactically, I feel like we're about there. I do think that we've got a good boxing brain. I think I've got a good boxing brain. So it's just the executing it. Make sure it's like that. It's executed every time.
Okay, so if I just ask one more, Ive. So if there were two of you, so let's say you were just cloned and you're about to box Kieron Conway next week, how would you box Kieron Conway? Not giving too much away, but we're all friends here.
Yeah, we're all friends here. Well, everybody seems to think get on my chest, but that's not the case. If you get on my chest, I'm going to work. And that's kind of when I feel probably my strongest and my best. Like when Ted's just got on my chest and pushed me, I had to work and I had to be accurate. I had no other choice. So definitely not getting on my chest. But saying that, if you stand off me and stand in front of me, I'm going to pick them off all day long. So it's hard. It's hard to say how would I beat me because I am adaptable. I'm really adaptable. I can fight all different types of styles. Just in my last 3 or 4 fights, I've had to. So I don't even know. Sometimes I have a bit of a low lead hand that I don't mean to have sometimes. So maybe throw a load of right hands over the top.
Sure. Well, Sky Sports seem to back you up because I've just seen this little piece here that says there was no letting up in the mid-rounds. Cheeseman still refusing to take a step back, continuing to target the midriff area while Conway showed the better technical prowess, cleverly scoring his own punches downstairs with uppercuts, also regularly catching the on-rushing champion. So it shows that if someone does sit on you, you've got the answer to that as well.
Yeah. When my back's on the ropes, I do feel like I let my shots go really well with good variability as well. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, thanks for that information, mate. Appreciate it, and good luck.
Cheers, mate.
The next one up is Q.
Hey, Kieron, how you doing, mate? All right?
Yes, not too bad, mate. How's things?
Yeah, good, thank you. Really interesting listening to your story. As like everyone else, we wish you the best of luck. Tell me, you and your team now, do you do a lot of strength training and power training and stuff like that? When you get the opportunity in between the space between the bouts?
Yeah, I do. I've got a strength trainer, a coach. So all of my training is got its individual coaches. Like, so my dad is my boxing coach.
Yeah.
And he kind of, that's his job. He's the boxing coach. I've got a strength coach. I've got a conditioning coach, nutritionist. Everything's got its own section. I do work on my strength and everything to go with that as well. But yeah,
that's good. No, brilliant. I'm going to sneak another one in. I've asked quite this a few times because in the COVID situation we've all had, haven't we? I mean, there's been a lot of negatives, but also there can be some positives. Can you share any positive out of this whole situation? It's allowed you, for example, maybe to reflect or to do this or to do that. Anything positive about the COVID situation that we're all in, mate, that's come out of it for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's I think that during the lockdown, during COVID, if you haven't been working on something in your craft, then it's just not there. The want isn't there. It's not there.
Wasted time, yeah.
Yes. And I've took this time by the horns. And had a gym made just before lockdown. So I've been in that gym all over lockdown, working on certain techniques and certain foot movements and even reaction drills and anything that I can do on my own over lockdown is what I was doing. And I was really working. I was watching fights back, watching things that I was doing wrong, and watching things on my future opponents that I could potentially take over as well.
Wow. It seems like you really made the most of it because it worked against Cheeseman, didn't it? Like you said, it was a good fight, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? So we wish you all the best of luck, mate, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much. Thank you. No worries.
Hang on a minute. Right, you go. Next one up is, where are we? Sean.
Just another quick question. Obviously, Kieron, the father-son relationship, obviously, you're the boxer. It's your business. It's your sort of livelihood, this, that and the other, along with your father. But what about the sort of downtime, home time? Does it affect that at all? Or have you got a real strong family bond? You must have, I know, but there again, sometimes I think these things can be difficult sometimes with the business side of things. But do you manage to put it to bed and enjoy your family time, or do you find it hard?
Yeah, because we don't live together, it's a bit easier. Like, I I come home and it's just me, my girlfriend, my dog, and my dad. We see each other sometimes out of the gym, but mainly things are like over text and even emails and stuff like that. Because when it comes to spending so much time with someone, it can get a bit friction. There can become a bit of friction there. So we try not to bring boxing to family things. So I'll go around there and I'll say go around there for a barbecue and stuff, but we don't talk too much boxing until we have to, because there's a time and a place, and we do enough anyway. Like I do enough when I'm here on my own. He's doing his bit when he's there on his own, and when we're in the gym, that's time to talk. I'll be there for hours and hours and hours, and if 3 of them hours are talking about tactical things or a movement or a technique, then that's the time for it. Not at home, not for us, for definite, because that's when arguments are made.
Brilliant. Okay, just one more thing. What sort of dog you got?
French bulldog. He's not even in his bed, actually. He's asleep. He's been on a nice long walk today.
That's it.
Usually be around my feet, especially with voices on here, be trying to see what's going on.
Yeah, I have one beside me. He's asleep in the other room. Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
No worries, mate.
Justin, you're back on.
Hey, yeah, me again, Kieron. Just a quick one, buddy. Obviously, we talk boxing quite a bit. What's your plans for the future, mate? Have you got a plan B? Would you like to stick to coaching, or haven't you thought that far in front of you, bud?
In all honesty, I haven't. I don't have a plan B. No. Because yes, there's different views on this, but at the minute, my view is if I've got 5 points of energy, I need to give boxing them 5 points of energy, not 4. And that one, and not taking away and only leaving 4 bits of energy for boxing. I need to give it my all. Whilst I'm young, whilst I've got that opportunity, I need to try and take it. I don't have a backup, but if it ever comes to it, I'm confident that I can find one.
Fantastic. It seems as though you got your head screwed on well, mate. And like I said it to you before, go and take it with both hands, son. All right?
That's it. I've got to.
Ted, come here. Ted.
Alex is on next.
Hi.
No, you're on.
Oh, hello. Justin stole my question a little bit there, so I'll ask you a little one if I can, a different one. Mine's more about just your relationship with your dad and the gym.
We lost your voice, Alex.
Hello.
Start again. Start the question again.
Sorry. Yeah, just I've had a lot of coaches at my gym who've had the children and they've come through with them, and I'm just wondering about your experiences. So was it like your dad brought you into boxing, or was it something that you always wanted to do and you started it as early as you could? And then what was your experience like in the gym with other people, with other coaches? Did you find that it was a positive experience that you had your dad there, or were there any negative or downsides to it?
At first, my dad never let me box. Ever. Yeah. I always wanted to, because one of my best mates in school was a boxer, and it ended up being my amateur coach's son. I knew he boxed, and I always said to him, I want to come boxing with you and stuff like that. My dad never let me. Said that am I allowed to swear on it?
Always.
Yeah, he was basically saying that I'm too much of a pussy. So he never let me go. So I went to karate instead for 6 years. Got my black belt when I was 12 or 11. And then one day, Arthur Daly came round to our house to buy dogs. My dad didn't know that it was Arthur coming round. So going backwards, my dad was coached by Arthur when he was younger. He didn't realise that it was Arthur coming around to look at dogs. When they did, it all brought up all like boxing memories and stuff. And from there, he kind of let me go to Arthur's gym. And at first, my dad weren't really involved in the training. It was kind of Arthur kind of introduced him into that a bit later on. But yeah, at first it was weird being in a boxing gym for me because I was this small, quiet, like skinny kid. I didn't really like socialise too much with people, and it was a little bit weird. But I wanted to do it, so I kept going, even though I was the quiet one, maybe in the corner or something. Yeah, and then when my dad came in, he started helping training at home and things like that. There weren't much to it, to be fair.
Yeah. So was your dad not your coach from the start?
No, not at the start.
No.
It was Arthur Daly and I think Chris Fitzpatrick, who he's not with us anymore. But yeah, it was those two at first. I think only for about 2 years maybe, and then my dad came into the boxing gym training.
Yeah, fab. And then if I can just ask you a little side question as well, just where you were saying before about where you've been watching fights as a fan, and then now you're getting the opportunity to be a part of that. Like, what would be your ultimate goal or dream or something that you feel is out of reach, but that you hope that you get an opportunity to do?
My goal in boxing is to become a world champion. I know that it's a long way off at the minute, but I've got no other.
No, it's not.
Patient.
Believe in yourself. No, it's not.
Oh, I truly believe in myself. I really do. I believe in my work and I believe in the process. And I'm very confident the time will come. But like I said, I've got a process to do, and I've got to stick to that.
Yeah, fab. Well, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've come to the end of the questions now, Kieron. So I just want to say thank you very much for coming on tonight. It's short notice, and appreciate it. Are you still there, or are you going to get your dog?
I'm here. Can you not see me?
Yeah, no, that's okay. You come back. So thanks very much for coming on, buddy. Appreciate it. I dropped the line last night and said, do you want to come on? So appreciate changing your plans as well, because I know you were going to King's Eve tonight and swapped it around on it last night. So
yeah, it's all good.
Appreciate you taking your time and going around. So on behalf of everyone on this gathering, thanks very much. All the best in the future, and I hope it goes the way you want it to go. Take care. Thanks for coming on. Cheers.